Hey team, welcome back to another episode of the Strength Game Podcast. I'm your host, Nick O'Brien, and this is episode number 141. The Strength Game is a weekly podcast dedicated to discussing all things physical culture with the coaches, athletes, iron enthusiasts, and experts deeply embedded in the strength game on both sides of the profession, both as coaches and as competitive athletes. I want to thank everyone who has subscribed to the show, has liked, shared, commented, left us reviews. All that support allows us to continue to bring on expert guests and highlight more individuals in the strength game, just like our guest today. Also want to thank our sponsors. Family owned and operated since 1976, Samson Equipment has been specializing in full turnkey weight room build-outs from planning to installation. Based in Las Cruces, New Mexico, Samson provides professional weight room solutions for those looking to lead the way in advancing our strength conditioning profession. Coaches have relied on Samson as their top resource for all their weight room renovations because they provide the finest materials and design, product customization, and the most reputable customer service hands down in the business. So if you're in the market for elite level strength equipment, weight room renovations or upgrades, be sure to check out samsonequipment.com to see how Samson has been delivering clients a long-lasting yet affordable product for over 4 decades. Also want to thank our sponsor, Cerberus Strength. Owned and operated by active lifters, Cerberus Strength is trusted by top strength sport athletes and lifters in the world. Cerberus's wide range of products are made by athletes for athletes, truly living up to its moniker, made by the strong for the strong. So if you're in the market for the highest quality strongman, strength conditioning gear and equipment, be sure to use promo code strength_game at checkout to receive 10% off your next order at cerberusstrength.com. Also want to thank our sponsor, Sport Kilt. Sport Kilt is the very first company to begin making casual kilts in the USA. Taking the traditional kilt concept, they crafted a casual kilt using modern materials that is perfect for Highland athletes and casual kilt aficionados alike. Sport Kilt offers an option for people looking for a tartan plaid kilt that is less expensive, comfortable, lighter, durable, yet machine washable. Make the ultimate Celtic statement by checking out the full selection of kilts and stylish kilt accessories at sportkilt.com. And be sure to use our promo code TSG to save at checkout. And in this week's episode, I am joined by Blair Vaughan. Blair is the head football strength conditioning coach at Sam Houston State University. Prior to his start with the Bearkats in 2025, Vaughan spent 2 seasons as the associate head strength coach at the University of Arizona. He arrived in Tucson after spending the 2020 to 2022 seasons on the Army West Point strength conditioning staff working with the Black Knights football team. Vaughan got a start as an intern football strength coach at his alma mater, Western Kentucky University, in 2016, as well as intern with the football strength staff at Ohio State University in 2017. From there, he served 1 season as an assistant strength coach at Robert Morris University in 2019. Vaughan had a very successful collegiate career himself, a 4-year letter winner for the Western Kentucky University football team. He was a part of WKU's first AP Top 25 finish in 2015, being ranked 24th overall after a 12-2 season, won back-to-back Conference USA titles in 2015 and 2016, and earned 3 straight bowl victories. Vaughan continues to stay active himself in the weight room and trains several days a week while balancing the rigors of the collegiate coaching schedule. He's an avid lifter and enjoys spending time with his wife and 15-month-old son when he is not training in the weight room. Like I said, I'm excited to have him on the show today. So with all that said, let's get in the game with Coach Blair Vaughan. What's going on, everybody? I'm excited today. We've got Coach Blair Vaughan on the show. Not this first podcast anymore. Now rolling into it with a little bit of steam, but fresh new head football strength coach over at Sam Houston State. Excited to have you on the show today. How's it going, Coach?
I'm doing great. Excited to be on here. I appreciate the opportunity. You know, been at Sam Houston for a few months now and just got a great group of guys and we're rolling. We're cooking through the summer. We're finishing up our last our 4.5 weeks of training before the 4th of July break. So it's going great. It's going great so far.
Awesome. Well, I know we're going to touch on all that stuff, kind of get your first impressions of getting in the hot seat and being the head guy over there, as well as what training looks like for you guys in the summer and how you kind of got to your current position. But before we kind of get into all that stuff, like how did you really get started, like in the strength game, training yourself, like playing football, like through a collegiate career, and like leading into what you're still doing to stay active yourself as well?
So I played football at Western Kentucky University. I went there. And it was my sophomore year. I decided I want to be a strength coach. Changed my major to exercise science because of a strength coach named Joe Madej. Joe Madej had so much passion and energy that I wanted to change my major. So got into exercise science. Interned at Ohio State. Um, went to West Point for a couple years. Went to Arizona for a couple years. Luckily, I was fortunate to land up here because of a connection. Connor Hughes, my boss at West Point. Him and Brian Hess. Brian Hess was his best friend in college and college roommates. And, you know, uh, I know Coach Hess was here at Sam Houston before, worked with our head coach, Coach Longo. And so Coach Hess was at West Point with Connor Hughes. Connor Hughes was his assistant. So Coach Hess, well, I'll rewind just a little bit. Mac Brown, the head coach at North Carolina, hired the defensive coordinator at West Point. He also hired the offensive coordinator at Ole Miss, who was Coach Longo. So they had both worked with Brian Hess. Brian Hess, so when they said, Coach Max said, I need a strength coach, both of them said Brian Hess at the same time. So Coach Longo called Coach Hess, and Coach Hess fortunately recommended me. I've had a few conversations with him on the phone, talked to him every year at the conference, and it just so happened that I was the lucky guy that got chosen to be here. But um, you know, I've always had a passion for lifting weights, and it started when I have an 18-month-old older brother than me, and so it started off with him introducing me to lifting weights when I was in middle school. And I always had the goal of being bigger and stronger than him, and eventually it got to that point. But you know, I loved lifting weights, and I wasn't the most talented kid in the world, but I knew that my hard work would separate myself and allow me to get some playing time on the field. And I was fortunate to let her at Western Kentucky for 4 years. And I can tell you right now, I got a couple young rock stars on my staff. I'm probably the dumbest guy on my staff, but I try to pride myself on my work ethic and how I am as a person and how I handle relationships. So, but you can't teach passion. You can't teach passion. So, I've been blessed that I tell everyone that I've never worked a day in my life, and that's the truth. So, I love what I do, and I'm blessed to be here. So.
That's awesome. It's great to have coaches and like mentors around you, especially early on in your career, that would shape you and kind of shift you in the direction of finding out, hey, coaching is an option. I'm going to change my major and really kind of go and pursue this profession, this career kind of path. And that's awesome to like hear all the network in the tree, like some of the roots and branches that are with all these different coaches and assistants, whether even strength coaches or just the defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators, head coaches, like it really goes to show like if you're good at what you do, like you're passionate about it, like you have a drive to everything that you've got going and you want to be successful in the career, like people are going to notice it, and surrounding yourself with those people, like that's who's going to ultimately bless you and get you in the positions that you are today. And I
Most
know you
definitely.
you say lucky, but at the end of the day, like all the steps and all the things that you kind of did set you up for a position to kind of have that luck a little bit more, and
Yeah.
other people vouch for you.
Yeah, 100%. And like, I'm just gonna shout out a bunch of people right now because it is luck, but like, I worked hard. I did the right thing, right? I always like my three rules: do right, do your best, show people you care. But I tell all the recruits that come in, like I share them a little bit about me, who I've been mentored by. Like I hit the jackpot from being mentored by the best in the game. Justin Lovett, the head strength coach of the Rams, he's been there for like 7 years. He was my head strength coach for 3 years. Joe Madej, who ended up being Lamar Jackson's strength coach, he was my strength coach that I told you I changed my major. I went to Ohio State. Coach Mick, like fourth national championship of his career. Like he's like unbelievable. He's the best leader I've ever been around. And then Phil Matus was the top assistant. He was in charge of us interns. Man, he had us working. He taught us some tough love. But he's the head strength coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. I interned for Thomas Stallworth, who was ended up becoming the head strength coach for the Atlanta Falcons for a few years. I interned for Jason Veldkamp at WKU, who ended up or who was previously the head strength coach of the Cleveland Browns. Um, and then Connor Hughes at West Point, he's one of the best in the game, point blank, period. And then it's those guys just all had a huge, huge impact on me. Nico Palazetti, who was at West Point, or sorry, who was at Ohio State, now the head strength coach at Cincinnati. I mean, just the one of the most genuine people you could possibly come across, and just you know, it's important to really have fun and do what you do, and like Nico had so much fun every single day, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is like we really are living the dream. So I like those guys. Shout out to all of them. I wouldn't be here without those guys. So, um,
No, that's awesome. That's a lot of names, a lot of kind of familiar faces like around the profession, like highly resounded like coaches. Like I mean, Stallworth and I crossed paths at Fresno State. Like
yeah,
we've had Connor Hughes on the show before as well. So there's a lot of like kind of crossing paths, like as well as like you're the Olympic director at Sam Houston State, like Trevor Williams has been on the show. Like Hess and I have crossed paths so many times on the East Coast when he was
yeah,
still at Delaware. So
wow,
it's awesome to kind of see like all those connections and see where people jump around. And it's kind of the crazy part of like collegiate and like pro athletics too. Like everybody's jumping around and you're still making those connections. You're still finding ways to network and stay connected with each other. It's a little bit different now for you because like you were on staff with a lot of those people and you were kind of in that mentee role in a way. And I know a lot of like you say that yourself, like your assistants are smarter than you and like you're just kind of the one driving the ship. But at
yeah,
one point in time, like you were in that role and you were kind of soaking everything in and trying to do as much as you can to like help impact the program. But now being like the head coach and having a little bit more say of who is going to be on your staff, who's going to kind of be your point of contact, like your subject matter expert and like maybe offensive line, strength stat, or like in the trenches guy, like skill position guy. Like, how do you kind of change that mindset and like take control as the head coach now that you're trying to bring people on your staff? Because before it's just like, hey, I'm trying to get on the best staff possible. And now you're trying to bring the best staff to you. How has that
mm.
mindset like shifted for you now?
Yeah. So my last couple years, I really focused less on the X's and O's of strength conditioning and more so on the leadership, not just of the team, but really like the staff, right? That's really important. Like you want to work for if you work for a guy that you trust and like what he says is important to you, then you'll work significantly harder, period. And like we had uh a staff at West Point that were like ready to take bullets for Coach Hughes. You know what I'm saying? And so he did not micromanage us. He wanted us to just get the job done, period. And so me when I was an assistant, I wanted to take as much off the plate of the head strength coach. And I wouldn't even tell him like what I was doing. I was just trying to make his job a little bit easier. So that's what I want my assistants to do. And honestly, like my first semester here, there wasn't a lot of me dictating out programming responsibilities here with our staff because I wanted to implement what I wanted to implement. I didn't know how much they knew. And actually, both the guys, I was really lucky, like they were retained from the previous staff. So they're doing an outstanding job. And like I said, Trevor Williams is really busy. He doesn't assist with the program or anything like that because he's in charge of the entire department and other sports, but he coaches his ass off at the runs and lives. But now heading into phase two of the summer. So we're gonna be a little bit more sports specific in what we do. So like Andrew Hacker, he's the head strength coach of baseball. He's gonna be programming a lot for our quarterbacks and some of our skill guys. And I'm always leaning on their opinion about things, even though they might not have didn't have a direct role in programming. I lean on their opinion about things a lot. And so Jackson's going to handle our specialist training as well because we're going to try to get a little bit more position specific with those details. So um, it's important that they know how I program and how I operate and how I run things and whatnot, and they understand that now. So now I don't have to guide them through it. I don't have to coach them through it. They're going to give me something I know it's going to be good and I know it's going to be great quality stuff that's going to increase the performance of our players. So. Um, just like I said with Coach Hughes, is just get the job done. You got to be adaptable, right? These like Andrew Hacker's been here for 4 years. You got to. I've worked for multiple different strength coaches over the past few years, and got to be adaptable to this to their system and everything that goes on, how they program, how they run things, how they operate. What their training philosophy is, all those things. So. Um, I try not to micromanage. I wanna run a good team that is a cohesive unit that we work together on, and I'm not micromanaging them. These guys are just having fun doing what they are passionate about doing too.
No, that's great. And I think that's what everybody looks for in like a leader and supervisor, boss, whatever way you want to kind of word it, but someone that's actually going to let them run with their passion, whatever they excel at. And then obviously like you're going to be like the final determinant, like you're going to put out the program, you're the face of it. You kind
Yep,
of take the brunt of all the meetings and whether the results look good and what's going on. And you're at as close as you can get to the top to understand like what the objective looks like, and their job is to kind of help execute it based off of your guidance. So having that feedback, getting opinions from them, and being able to put the best product on the field because everybody's pulling the right in the same direction
100%.
is a pretty cool feeling. We're going into like the first year. I know you've been there a couple months, but like what were there any kind of growing pains and things that like were maybe you not felt like maybe not necessarily not prepared for, but something like you didn't really expect that you would have to kind of endure, like now being in that head role that you think looking back, like you could either prepared for or you can give advice to someone else. It's like, hey, it's my first time taking over a football program. Like maybe think about this a little bit more before you're actually like in the weeds of it, or do you just have to learn on the fly?
Yeah, I think a lot of it, truthfully, I think a lot of it's learning on the fly, and there's so much you have to handle as a head strength coach, and there's so many. I can't tell you how many people have told me like you're never going to be prepared until you're actually in the shoes. And like one thing I've always prided myself on is problem solving. Is when people find problems, I find solutions. Period. So um, that's all you have to do. You have to be able to adapt. You have to be able to adapt to the coach's wishes, the athletic training, whatever they're doing, what their role and their philosophy is. And then you just have to be able to solve problems. So it's Coach Monken at West Point, he always had this saying that stuck with me is don't plan, prepare. And it's the truth. Like you can plan for X, Y, Z to happen, but then when shit hits the fan, like you have to be prepared to handle the situation. So um that's just one thing that I've taken away from them. And then, one thing I took away from Coach Hughes too about the leadership thing is just being under control of your emotions and emotional level-headedness and being able to handle situations and talk to athletes because there's going to be situations. There's been multiple times where I've kicked an athlete out of the weight room for being out of control with their emotions or whatever it may be, right? They're not upholding the standard that, we're not going to have any leeway for. But it's being able to be under control of your emotions and find a problem because, it's not like the head coach can come to you and ask you your opinion on something and you might have no idea, but you need to think, you need to analyze the situation, you need to come up with a solution. So, it's always good to present options about certain things, but there's so much stuff I've had to deal with since I got here, like, and it's like, Sam Houston's been in FBS for 2 years now. and they had a really successful season last year, but we're still playing a little catch up in some areas with some resources and stuff. And luckily, there's a lot of really big plans to come here in the next year or two with Sam Houston football, and just the university in general. But yeah, there's some things we gotta do to make sure we're all operating on the same path. But it's just when you get in the shoes, you got to be able to find the problems or find the solutions to those problems. Our head coach always says that there's a solution to every problem, period. So we just got to find it. So
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of that, and it's a lot of, as a head coach, it seems like putting out a lot of those like small little fires all the time, and
every day,
you hope
every
it's
day.
you just got to touch on them because it feels like a lot of them are still kind of embers. You can't just always put them out. They're just, you got to maintain it the same as the standard. Like you're going to have to go through and every single day, it's got to be kind of an unwavering consistency, whether it's
Yeah,
like emotional control, like you're talking about, or hey, establishing a standard and now making sure that everyone on staff understands it, everybody on and all the athletes are upholding it. And it's got to be consistent. And that's one of the
yeah,
hardest things probably when you're starting off.
100%. I mean, like it's like you said, putting out those embers, and it's with everything. Everything I preach to our guys, everything matters. Every detail matters. Like the margin of error in college football is absurd. And you see that more and more as from high school to college to NFL, the margin for error is so minuscule. And you have to put out those fires every single day, no matter what it is. And I think, a lot of the culture aspect in strength conditioning and stuff, and this is why, like, I love college football. Like, would it be cool maybe to do NFL? Maybe, yeah. But a lot of my passion develops is in developing 18 to 22-year-old guys and helping them become better men, better husbands, better fathers, whatever it is. Um, but it's tough, right? Like you have to address every single situation. You can't let one thing slip. Because then that ember is going to turn into a freaking forest fire. And I'm telling you, that's a tough thing. You can't play favorites. I tell my guys all the time, like, and it's funny because Coach Longo says the same thing. It doesn't matter if you're the first string quarterback or the sixth string long snapper. Like we're going to hold you to the exact same standard. I'm not going to treat you any different. Like the standard is the standard. So it's crystal clear on how we operate.
Yeah, that
But we got to
transparency is
squash those
huge.
fires every time. We got to squash those fires every time.
I know it's as soon as you kind of let something go, you'll see the one individuals that are going to get away with it. And that's a virus that spreads really quickly, especially like when you're trying to rewrite a program. I know you're kind of one of the new ones coming into the program, so there has still been some carryover from previous seasons and like anybody that's coming into a collegiate program, professional program, like you're not really going to rewrite the history of it. You're trying to build on it or you're trying to improve it in a certain way. There's going to be pieces that you're going to want to keep. There's going to be pieces like, hey, maybe we need to go in a different direction. And there's maybe some things that you need to add to the program. And it's every time you do that, like you still, like you said, like have to hold that standard. And everybody from the lowest member on the staff, the lowest, like the furthest person on the bench on the team, like to the starter to the head coach has to be able to hold that standard because it's like a job interview. Everybody's watching and they're kind of waiting for you to get away with murder, especially early on, because they want to figure out where the line is and what they can do. Not everybody's like that, but it's enough when you're trying to rewrite a culture that you need the majority of the team. You need some of the main players like pulling in that direction because that's where the rest of the ship is going to go.
100%. 100%. Can't agree with you more on that, and um, at Ohio State, they had a saying, and I firmly believe it, is that if the best players are the hardest workers and the best leaders, then you'll be successful. And that's always what I try to instill in our guys, wherever I've been at, right? Is that if those guys play such a huge influence on other people, and it is something that they earned, right? And it's that whole saying that pressure is a privilege, right? They earn that. Like, it's not like you're some walk-on guy that's fifth string on the bench. Like, no, you're a starter. Now, if you hold the standard, everyone else will join along. So yeah, there's it. you have to have those conversations with those guys, and you got to bring along your leaders, or turn them into leaders, because we have I got a couple examples of the guys on the team right now that have the capabilities of it. They're really smart guys, but they just have to get comfortable being uncomfortable and calling guys out, because I'm telling you, they call one guy out, then 10 other guys fall in line, and that's just how it is. But we're really fortunate. Like, we have I love it here in Texas. I love it because our guys work their asses off. They're so intentional about their training. I don't know if you know this too much about Texas, but they take football very seriously. So they come in here, they put in a lot of work, right? And yeah, we're gonna hold them to the highest standard possible, and it doesn't matter what that is. We're gonna do everything with 100% intent every single time, and you know, we're going to do the warm up with perfect technique, perfect intentions, right foot forward. Next man's got to pop in with a sense of urgency. We got to pop off the floor with a sense of urgency. We got to leave no doubt and finish through the line. Every single detail. Man, it took us 48 minutes to get through the warm up day one. And then it took us about 25. And then it took us about 18. Now it takes us about 11 to 12. But it's got to be done absolutely perfect every single time. And that's a standard we hold. It doesn't matter. I told our head coach, like, when we're going to spring ball, he's asking me how many minutes do we need to allot for the warm up? I don't know, however long it takes, So I said we should be done in 15, but if we come out here dragging ass and you know attitude and effort's a non-negotiable in our program. So if we don't execute as well, then none of that stuff matters. So he kind of jokes, well, as soon as Blair's done with his warm up, we'll start practice. But it's like, that's what we got to do. It's what we got to do.
Uh,
And the guys own it. They own it, and they know if there's one error, then they hustle on back, and we reset them, and they just they do an outstanding job responding to criticism. Every time we've had to call a guy out individually, and they don't take it personal, because I don't make anything personal. I'm never demeaning to the athletes, right? Just demanding. But they respond so well to criticism. They've done an awesome job.
no, that's awesome. I mean, there's a lot of great points like with like just the approach that you're taking with them and like the detail, like the attention to detail when it comes to, especially in the beginning, establishing the criteria for standards and like what we're going to uphold. And honestly, whatever you let them get away with becomes the new standard. So if
Yep.
you're going to stay on top of them and make sure that mistakes are going to be corrected, there's accountability when it comes to those things, and they're going to remember that. And then you get more and more to the point where leaders can actually step up and things are player driven more so and they're policing themselves and you can actually start coaching and individualizing things. But in the beginning, I understand like that's exactly how it should be. And you're doing it until you can't get it wrong, not just like when you get it right that one time. And that warm up is starting to shrink and things are starting to move a little bit better. So it's a great way to do it. Like how detail do you kind of go about like with the planning for all this stuff? Like I know a lot of this stuff was picked up just from your time at different places, being with like high level mentors and coaches that have been in that hot seat for a while as a head coach and kind of picking up on the cues so that ultimately now when you're in that head role, you know exactly how you want to run the program. But it's a little bit different, like getting that message across to your staff and making sure that that message also is in conjunction with the head football coach and how he wants to run it. So I know it's kind of hard for me to like ask this, but like how do you get everything that you want for a standard, all the details that you have for your program projected out to the athletes like within a day? Like how's the message coming across to them?
Well, it's I'll say the one thing too is, like, Coach Longo and I are always on the same page. And you would think that we talk behind closed doors about what the message is going to be on a day-to-day basis. We don't at all. We never have, but we speak the same language out to the team. So that's just one thing that just I work for the best head coach in the country, and us, just we're always on the same page about how we operate with things. And it's just, I'll never forget the first time he called me. It was like kind of an interview, but it was a 45-minute conversation. At the end of the conversation, he's like, you know, you remind me of myself in a lot of ways. And I was like, okay, this is a 56-year-old, new head coach, it's like I'm 31 years old, I'm a straight coach, but like there's it like we click. Um, but it's just being clear cut and having those standards day one. Like the first thing we did, so I got introduced to the team meeting. I read them off all the rules, all the expectations and standards of what you needed to do just to step foot into the weight room. From what you were going to wear, how you were going to walk in, you know, no jewelry, no wristbands, no nothing, unless it's team issued gear, right? That's it. White socks, whatever, you name it. So I read off the rules of what uh, it was just to walk in the weight room. And then what did we do as soon as we got in the weight room? I probably gave them a 15-minute presentation of what the standards and expectations were. And for the novice that I didn't need to waste the head coach's time and I didn't need to stand up there for 20 minutes and just talk at our first team meeting and this and that. So I, got them in, I talked to them. Coach Hughes taught me a valuable lesson about, right, like and I've seen it at other places, like we want to eliminate the anxiety, right? So we talk, we have conversation, we don't yell and scream and this and that. Like we're coaching. Um, but when you communicate to them, you tell them exactly what you're going to do and you talk to them like a normal person because especially that day one, like the anxiety is just high. So, I mean, I was clear cut and dry on what the standards and expectations were and how we were going to operate. And from the verbiage we said in uh, the weight room to I don't want to hear anything that goes against anybody's sex, race, religion, sexual orientation, whatever you name it. Like if I hear any of that stuff, like there's going to be consequences. So I did that day one, and so if they don't follow it, I mean, like there's going to be some issues. So, and it's going to be addressed. My guys know everything will be addressed. I will annoy the shit out of you, and I will not get tired of holding the standard. And I'll never forget, Coach Mick sat us down, and it was the first time we had ever really got to pick his brain at Ohio State. And one thing that stuck with me is like, you guys want to be strength coaches, not everyone's going to like you. You're in the wrong business. If you want everyone to like you, you're in the wrong business. It ain't gonna happen. So I told my guys that I'm fully aware that not everyone's gonna like me. But I told my guys too, is I say day one. And I tell them, you guys have heard the phrase, um, respect is earned, right? Not given, right? You got to earn the respect. Well, I told them I'm going to demand it. So if you don't respect my coaching staff, if my coaches don't respect you, if the players don't respect each other, then I'm not going to tolerate it. Either my coach isn't going to be on my staff, you're not going to be in the weight room, or whatever that may be. But respect's going to go all the way around across the board. So, like I said, we're very demanding of our athletes, but we're not demeaning. We're never going to make things personal. So, it's critical to just developing that culture from my guys in my office on my staff to being on the same page with Coach Longo and the same page with the team. They always know exactly how it's going to be every single day, and it's never going to change. It's never going to change. I don't care. I've seen it. I've seen it when I played, like about the standards slipping in season. We're not going to have that. We're not going to look back and suffer from the pain of regret, right? We'd rather suffer from the pain of discipline and doing every single little detail right all season long. That way we know we gave it our all at the end of the day, at the end of the season, right? So,
No, that's great. I mean, I like that too, like talking about eliminating the anxiety. I think, especially with as widespread as like social media is, and every single FBS program is probably putting out training montages, like everything from summer training, like summer ball, like leading into the season, every game, like everything is documented and proven. Like it could be even for like a five-star recruit coming in, like some of them are still got that anxiety built up of like, hey, how am I going to adapt to this program? How am I going to fit in? Like, what are the rules? What are they expect? You don't know any of that stuff by there's a lot of things that I think we as coaches like can over embellish, and we can really eliminate, like you said, the anxiety of stuff by just having those conversations and laying out the expectations, and they're mutual because you have expectations that the staff is that has set and they're similar to what the athletes have. when it comes to accountability coming into the facility, like what the attire is, what the expectation of how your coaches are going to treat all the athletes too. Like when you lay all that out and you're transparent as possible,
Yep.
it just leaves the work to be done. And like you, all you have to do is make sure you're doing this. Well, that's laid out, and we can go forth and actually be successful by doing the program.
Yep. And you use the word transparent. Like we are transparent. I am so transparent. I'm going to tell the truth in everything, right? So I'm not going to sugarcoat shit. If it's not the expectation, then I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And I'm also like, we want to make sure that everyone knows exactly like you should know what teammates are busting their ass and who you can trust and who you can count on. And so we do Iron Bearcat in the winter and the summer, and it's our championship accountability is what we call it. And so, I mean, you're graded on subjective details, right? Attitude, effort, coachability, attention to detail, and then your edge, right? Your toughness. And then we'll give you points if you win competitive stuff or this and that and the other. But we also have a category for what we call the bare minimum, which is going to be you're showing up exactly where you need to be on time, doing the right thing, and making your body weight goal. And you don't really gain much points from that, but you can certainly lose a lot of points in that category. But we post these grades. I send them out to the coaches, and I sent them out for summer week one. And our head coach texts the whole group staff back and he says, I absolutely love this. And they love the transparency. He loves the transparency. And we post this in the locker room. We post this in the weight room so guys can see exactly where they stand, ranked 1 to 105. And it's very important, and fortunately, like right now, like we're giving a lot of pluses here, there, and the other because just the guys are working so hard. They're all doing the right thing. They're all on the same page, and they're all just like, I love it. Like we got a chip on our shoulder, and you know, not to compare things when I played at WKU because we actually played WKU week 0 here coming up, so they're the enemy. But we had a big chip on our shoulder, and not a lot of people expected things from us. And when I was at WKU, the sole goal was to win the Conference USA championship. And right now, that is our sole focus is winning the Conference USA championship. And it starts with WKU week 0, August 23rd. So, um, we are going to be extremely transparent in every single thing that we do. Because that's what I believe, and that's some of the things that I saw at Ohio State. And if they can be transparent with those things, we can too. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And it goes with every detail. It goes with every detail. I've been a part of places that say, "Oh, the players shouldn't have to clean up." Well, if Nick Bosa can clean up after himself in the weight room, then so can anybody else. It doesn't matter. So, you know,
Yeah, that's well said. I mean, obviously, like those traits are important too. Like if you've got your star player, like you said, working the hardest and they have the best work ethic, it's gonna permeate down to every single person in that
mhm.
locker room. And if they're doing the little things like that right, and they're just being like good, genuine human beings, like they have good character traits and they're mentoring younger athletes and they're working on their craft and their skill and like they're doing the right things behind closed doors. And when it's outside, like the 2 hours of practice and film and lifting, all that, whatever they're doing, that edge work they're doing outside of it,
Yep.
like you're developing in so many more areas than just strength or speed or your skill base. Like you're developing, and that stuff transcends like anything that you're going to get in the weight room. Like you're just a genuinely good person, and that stuff is going to benefit the entire team, even if it's not tangible and you can't figure out like quantify that in a certain way.
100%. And like Coach Longo's 2 words. This is 2 words. And it's crazy. Like the first team meeting, he put up 1 word and then put up another word, and he talked about each for such a long time. It's character and production. And right, those two things, like if you're not a good person and doing the right thing and giving your all and being a good teammate, you won't be here. And if you're not producing, you're not going to be here. And that goes from in the weight room, the football field, to in the classroom, whatever it is. It's because it's a lesson we all learn at some point is once football is gone, like you got to be a grown ass man. You got to handle your stuff. There's no one there to save you. It's all on you. It's all on you. So, um, teaching the guys the tools, right? And that's the thing I tell my guys, I've said it before, is trust me, you don't want me to babysit you. Trust me, you don't. I will be extremely, extremely annoying if I have to, but I will. I will if I have to. But if you're gonna act like a grown ass man and do exactly what you got to do, right? Stay off my lists, then we're good. We're good. So most definitely, it's all about developing guys. And I know I had such a fun time in college, and I wasn't the most mature person. I probably didn't truly mature till I was 24, 25. But um, it is critical. It is critical, and I'm lucky that I got reeled in by a lot of coaches and mentors that taught me those valuable lessons because I wouldn't be where I am without them,
Yeah.
and just who they were and just being just good role models. Like they don't even have to say words. You just see their actions and you see what they do and the influence they have on people, it's inspiring.
Yeah, having good role models like that and people that are not just talking the talk, but like walk the walk, and that you can emulate and kind of copy some of those good character traits and like good habits, that's huge. And it's awesome to kind of hear about like Iron Bearkats and like all the grading, and not only like you're transparent about it, like you're awarding and you're highlighting individuals, and like nothing's left like in a gray area, like black or white. You did
No,
it, you didn't do it. Like
no,
there's no subjectivity, like favoritism, like you said.
never.
And it's unfortunate, like a lot of schools that I've been at, or a lot of friends like in the business, like especially college athletics, like I don't know why some of that stuff is like frowned upon, like to post like training numbers, post like, oh, where you fall within the team. I don't know if it's like the new day and age of like where that stuff is, but everybody's going to get ranked. Like your salary's going to get posted. If you don't show up for a job, you're going to get fired. Like you're
100%.
racked and stacked like in every single career you're going to be part of for the rest of your life. The players that are the best are going to be on the field. There's no
Yep.
favoritism, so why can't we continue to highlight good things that are happening, highlight skill numbers, highlight all the good character traits, and post it? Because there's no hiding in the locker room. There's no hiding on the team, and it's only fair that every single person know how hard my teammates working, how hard this coach is working. Like that stuff needs to be done if you're going to be under the bright lights and you're going to be on national TV and you're trying to compete for a championship.
Yeah, 100%. And no matter what, I mean, all we're doing is subjectively and objectively grading them, and that's exactly what happens in my career, probably what happens in your career and anybody else, whether you're in the NFL, right? You could be a rock star player, but if you're not doing things right off the field and you're a cancer in the locker room, like they'll trade your ass, whatever it is. If you're not showing up on time doing these things, you're gonna get fined. There's gonna be consequences to everything. And if you want to be successful, like you have to be able to handle your business and you know, uh, it, God, I don't even know the quote I'm looking for, but you should appreciate the transparency. You absolutely should. The truth is critically important. Like you should be mad if someone lies to you and tells you you're doing a good job, and then like, no, I'm gonna post this stuff. We'll have some notes here and there too. Probably we put like 2 to 3 sentences for each athlete every single week. Um, and it's very rare that a kid comes up and he says, Coach, I don't understand why I'm graded like this. But it does, like sometimes they do question it, right? And we have that conversation, and there's never been an instance where we're not on the same page. So, and it's not just one coach grading, it's every single coach on staff. And um, we make sure that we're transparent and it's critical to communicate to the athletes, to the coaching staff, any issues that are going on with a player, right? We could squash those embers before they turn into forest fires, right? Had a kid week 1 of the Iron Bearcat. He finished in the bottom five. The transfer that, you know, we believe in to have an impact on the field. I said, look, it's 1 week. There's not a lot of, too much changes, right? There's 20 guys tied for third place or whatever it is. So I told him I don't expect you to be at the bottom for very long, right? But you have to, there's a couple changes we need to make, right? And so this is why you got graded this, is why you got graded that. I'm not asking for this. I need you to come in here, do your job. I need you to be a good teammate. I need you to do this. And he's moved his way up the past couple weeks, and that's what I expect, right? It's all about taking the criticism and being receptive to it and then improving yourself. Like they always talk about, like Tom Brady, he wanted to be coached. Like if you weren't coaching him, like you probably weren't going to be on staff very long. Like he wanted to be dissected and analyzed in every way, shape, or form so he could be the greatest of all time. And he was. So you just got to be humble and trust the process that we're giving them. I tell my guys all the time, I told them day one, like we're going to set them up for success in every way, shape, or form. So like if I tell a kid to bump up 20 pounds for his last set of back squat, it's not because I was 99.99% sure he was capable of doing it with perfect technique. It's because I was 100% sure he's capable of doing it with perfect technique and executing it well. So that's what we want to do in every way, shape, or form, whether that's the subjective, objective stuff or it's the training. We want to set them up for success and it's important that when the kids come to you, that you put themselves in their shoes and see how they feel and continue to build those relationships. It can't just be well, I'm going to tell you exactly what you did, why you've messed up or this and that. Like you got to hear the kids out every time. It's important. So
Yeah, you have to kind of hear their side of it as well too. Like you can't just kind of sit and pull the strings and not get their feedback or not like explain the rationale for what's going on and stuff because you got to build that trust. There has to be, like you said, you're going to demand the respect, but at the same time, like you're going to sit down with those players and you're going to have conversations with them when they have questions and like fully be transparent about things. But you would be doing a disservice to them if you were just kind of letting them coast and you weren't actually trying to hold them to what they said their goals were, as well as like, hey, you're a part of the team. Like this is the team's goal. This is the team standard. Like if you're not upholding that, like hey, I'm gonna tell you what it is, and like we're gonna just like you're talking about your coach with the like character and development, like those are the key factors. If you're not doing those things, you're not part of the program, essentially. And we'll find a way to kind of remove you from the program if you can't abide by what we're doing and like really basically jump on board. Like this is the new wave. This is what we're doing. This is why the off season is such a critical part of the season. It's my favorite time of the year because you can
yeah.
rewrite everything and start over. And you gotta like keep your foot like to the pedal as much as possible because that sets the foundation for the year.
100%. 100%. Um, yeah, I'm lucky to have the job that I have and get to like it's always a grind though. The off seasons are such a grind, but it's so much fun and um like I said, like we're gonna bust our ass the next couple days before 4th of July, but it's gonna be a really fun time. Still a quote from Coach Hughes, but like we want to make the weight room the best party on campus. So we're gonna work our asses off, but it's gonna be fun. Um, because I mean it goes hand in hand with football. You work your ass off in football, you win football games, and then that's really fun. Celebrating the locker room is really fun. So um yeah, it's just a huge piece. It's a huge piece is the culture. I've been a part of teams that, you know, the culture wasn't there, the talent was, we did okay, right? Or like a place like West Point really maximizes everything they do because of the culture they have set every single day. It starts with the head coach, the head strength coach. Like you talk about talking the talk and walking the walk. Jeff Monken's unbelievable. Like I being a coach, you used to talk about it all the time. It's like I don't know if there's a single person on the planet that holds himself to a higher standard than Jeff Monken. Like it's absolutely sir. Works his ass off, and then like we're out there at practice. It's 20 degrees and snowing outside. Practice is over. He's the last guy on the field. What's he doing? He's picking up trash off the field. Picking up trash. Freezing cold, pitch black outside. But that's just who he was. And it's not like he just did that once in a blue moon. Like he did that all the time. First one in, last one out, like just but was a leader, a leader. Um, so another guy that's had a huge impact on my development from who I am. And that's who you want to work for. You don't want to uh work for a hypocrite, right? Like that's you're never going to get buy-in. You're never going to get buy-in if you're a hypocrite. So like that's one of my rules that I have written down in my strength coach philosophy. Like my coaching rules is don't be a hypocrite. Like I can't do that. Can't do it with my staff. I can't do it with my players. Like if I'm gonna talk the talk, I'm gonna walk the walk in every single thing that I do. So if my three rules to them is do right, do your best, show people you care, that's what I have to do. I have to constantly do the right thing. I have to give my best effort and I have to develop the relationships and show them that I care. And, we talk about, it's all about their development. And there's nothing that I do. Everything that I do, whatever, if it's holding them to the standard, it's if asking them to do this many sets and reps of the hardest conditioning drill in the world, whatever it may be, it's going to be for their benefit or the team's benefit. There's nothing I will ever ask them to do that isn't one of those two things, period. It'll always go back to them. And same with the character piece too. It'll always go back to it will benefit them.
I love it. No, that's great. That's great for any coach in any part of their career. Or, I mean, it transcends coaching and athletics and strength conditioning as well too. Like those character traits and just being a good person and like being positive in what you're doing, showing progress, like giving your best effort, developing relationships, like showing people you care, like that, you can apply that to anything in your life. And it's awesome to kind of
Yeah.
see how it's applied to football and strength conditioning and like what you're doing over there. So you talked about kind of like not being a hypocrite. I mean, it's easy for you to like relay back to your success as an athlete and you playing football as well. And that's an awesome thing to be able to kind of like refer back and be like, hey, I've gone through the process. I know what you guys are doing. I know how it feels to like train as a part of a team, have success, go to bowl games and like win. But like you're still staying active. You're still finding ways to train and you're still walking the walk and everything too. Like how important is that to like stay go back to your roots like when you were training with your brother and like just fall in love with the weight room and still find ways to train. Like, how has your training changed since getting out of college? And like, why do you continue to do it?
Oh, I just love the fact that just pushing yourself hard. Like it's a battle, and I'm getting a little older and it's like it's tough, but like I'll give a shout out to Washington's running backs coach, Scotty Graham. He's awesome, awesome guy, awesome leader, hell of a football coach. But when I was with him at Arizona, we did game day fives. Every Saturday, you'd get up, you'd run 5 miles. And we do it as a group. And last year, they went up to Washington. I stayed at Arizona. I was doing it on Saturdays by myself. But it was just we did it for the players. And it was just showing them that, like, hey, we're going to ask you to do some really hard shit to push through pain. To go into the fourth quarter, you're going to be tired, you're going to be exhausted, but like, we have to finish. And it was just kind of a thing like, hey, we're going to ask you to do this. Well, we're willing to suffer a little bit as well. I went into that first game day five cold turkey and I was beat up. I didn't do any preparation for it. I don't think I did any preparation for it. I haven't done any cardio since the last game day, to be honest. And I'm pushing through, but it's like especially this past year, doing those runs by myself, it's like I'm in pain, but I'm thinking about the guys that were gonna ask to push themselves to the limit. You know, I'm thinking about my guy T-Mac, Noah Fafita, Montana Lamonius Craig. I'm thinking about Jacob Manu. I'm thinking about Gunnar Maldonado, Traden Stukes. I'm thinking about those guys that are going to push themselves and push themselves every single day and are exactly what we wanted to be at that program. And they gave everything we asked for. So why can I not give everything? You know what I'm saying? So it's really important though. I mean, I told you right before I got on here, I was working out, crushing my lower body. I need to do a better job about having a plan. I just go in there and I will bury myself. But it's what helps me out psychologically. It's I mean, when I was a player, I wish I was smarter because we'd have 6 a.m. workouts. I'd go to practice in the afternoon and I'd be at the rec center for an hour and a half, hitting more chest, or back or arms or legs, like you name it. I had shoulder surgery. You could ask my boys, like I was training legs 7 days a week. I couldn't do upper body. I trained legs 7 days a week. And that's just, I didn't want to lose my advantage of being a strong guy. I came into college bench pressing 405 pounds. Now, I was a fullback. I was 235, 40 pounds. I'm 195 right now, a lot leaner and whatnot. But that's shit. I mean, it's fun. It's really fun to continue to be competitive, especially with your staff. Whether we're at West Point, Arizona, or here, like I'm gonna chirp my buddies, and I hope they chirp me back. It's still having that's one thing about us is like you can't go to like a normal person can't go to a regular gym and start chirping another guy. Like us coaches, especially when we were assistants or whatever, like we could chirp each other, have a good time, like talk a little smack. Like our guys, our players talk a ton of shit out on the field, but they back it up. So it's just doing a little bit of that, driving that competition. It's a part of who I am. I mean, that'll never change. So
No, I love that. Yeah, that competition, like that's the one thing I always missed about it. And like sometimes on Olympic staffs, it's so hard because you just feel like you're passing ships. Like when I was still like working in college, like you're the head coach of all these different sports. So like, hey, you might not be in the weight room. You're just always passing each other. So your schedules are always rough. I was always envious of like the football five staff because they're like, hey, our schedules match up. We're doing this. And they're like, the guys are in like full sweatsuits, just getting after it all together, or they know they're all going to go run at the same time. Like you had that camaraderie, you had someone to do it.
yeah.
And I could find it with some of the staff if it timed up on certain days, but it was just always me lifting alone and just reaching out to like former friends and former colleagues at other places to be like, hey, I did this suck fest on Friday. It was like,
No doubt. Yeah.
I won't tell you my time, you do it, and then like we'll compare or something. But
Yeah.
you miss that stuff when you're out, and I think a lot of players don't realize that like at some point in time like ball ends, so
Oh,
like
no doubt.
you hope that you can maybe shift that into something else, and like training in some sort of aspect's always going to be there, and it's cool to hear that like you found it. And game day five sound like they're going to be fun in that Texas heat in a few in a few months.
It's the humidity, man. I walked to our head coach's office. I'm drenched in sweat. It's 200 feet away. Like it's terrible. But no, the training, us at West Point, all leaving and getting bigger and better jobs was probably the biggest blessing for all of our bodies because I'm not kidding. When it was me, Brandon Reyes, Colin Kenyon, and GC Yeri and Coach Hughes, like we would do a staff program and like you were gonna go to war mentally and physically. And like you just weren't gonna back down. And our bodies were beat up. But and we were just competing every day and we talk about it and laugh about it all the time. But they like it's why we have such close bonds with each other is because we did that together. If we didn't work out together, we probably wouldn't even be like talking to each other, but we talk all the time. Um, and like we just do stupid stuff just to prove a point. And like some of it's the ego, but some of it's just like just having fun, like sometimes you just have nothing else to lose. Like we were prepping for the Army Navy game one year, and Robert Williams, he goes by Robo. He's at Cincinnati right now with Coach Nico, one of my mentors. But Robo was on our staff at West Point, and he was like telling me he could bench more than me. I was like, okay, no, you can't. Why don't we put it in competition? We bench and squat. I knew his squat was a little heavier than mine. I've had a bunch of knee surgeries, but he's like, okay, well, we'll do it in 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, I gained 27 pounds and I made sure that I was going to beat him. I put on 27 pounds in 2 weeks um, just to talk my talk. But I try not to get in the ego stuff anymore. I'm all about longevity. I got a 15-month-old son. I'm lean. I'm healthy. So I'm gonna need someone. What if I get on staff with my boys again sometime? They could probably convince me to gain a bunch of weight and compete against them. But I don't know if that's in my future right now.
Yeah, you gotta at some point in time you gotta reel it in, and I've heard a good saying about it. It's like I know it's like a SEAL saying and it's like kind of modified off that, but it's like dials, not switches.
Mm.
So like being able to like kind of turn the dial a little bit and not take it, not just flip it to a 10 right away. And that comes with a little wisdom, a little bit of age, a little tread on the tires to understand like, hey, I know what I can do. I can push it, but like still having that competitive spirit and fire, like you still got to be able to reel it in a little bit nowadays. But
100%.
that staff camaraderie and like all those guys being able to like go off and like do big things like after their career at West Point and like all the other stops you've been at. That's awesome to kind of hear and like still stay in contact with it. So like when it comes to like networking and like just generally staying up to date with like some of those like colleagues that you've had in the past or even like the ones on your staff, like what's kind of your advice to like young coaches like when it comes to either looking for mentors or really just kind of looking for like building like that coaching relationship? Because I think I know it's good in some areas, but like it's also kind of forced or like just really fake when it comes to like reaching out only on social media and having like a one-off conversation just because it's someone else. Like you're not getting the same feeling that it is when every
No.
single day you're working with a guy, you're going to train with them, you're there for 10 hours. But I also know some people can't get that. So what would you say to someone that's like trying to find that sort of like development and camaraderie when it comes to coaching and looking for advice?
Yeah, so I'll give you a quote from Phil Matusa, head strength coach of the Steelers, when he was with us at Ohio State. He always said, at the end of the day, you're responsible for your own development, and that goes with networking too. So I think the CSCCA going to the conference every year is really good for getting to meet people and getting to put faces to get together. But at the same time, it's not the mentorship you're talking about. Like it's going to be rare that you get mentored by someone via phone call or something like that. Now I know some strength coaches or staffs do some like the virtual internships and stuff like that. I know a couple of people that do a really good job with those. Um, but at the same time, like it is the same quote that you've heard forever is be where your feet are at. And like, sometimes when you're a young strength coach, like it's going to take a lot of sacrifice financially for sure. And it's like, man, I want to be here. I want to be there. I want to be there. Like I want to get a bigger, better job, like this and that. But I have literally only got my next job or made those friends, those lifetime connections because of the relationships I built where I was at the current time. Like I only have this job because I had a good relationship with Connor Hughes, who has a great relationship with Brian Hess, who has a great relationship with Phil Longo. Like that's it. I was building those relationships where I was at, and I've been really fortunate, and I try to just be fair with everybody, no matter who it is. And I try to be easy to talk to and open for anything. I try not to judge people. I'm really, really quick to forget. Um, and I think that it all comes down to those relationships when it's being mentored, and a part of it is like earning it. Like if you want some guidance, like you better show how important it is to you. If you're an intern that's not doing his best or doing the right thing, then why is the head strength coach, why is it his job to develop you? Like part of your development is just doing your job. Um, so like Coach Matu says, is like at the end of the day, it's on you. I am going to allow I got three interns right now. They can ask me every question in the book, and I'm never going to shoo them away. It's on them if they want to ask questions. I'm not going to force the questions upon them. So it's if they want to learn, I'm open ears, and that's for anybody. I had a guy we almost hired as a paid intern that called me on Saturday and talked to me for an hour, asked questions about his high school program that he's doing. I don't care who you are. Like I'll talk to you. I would have wanted that, but it's got to be you seeking it out, right? I'm not going to go send a mass email to high school strength coaches or guys that want to intern and say, hey, does anyone want to talk on the phone? Like, no, it's got to be you seeking it out. Like, and I still do it. I reach out to anybody because I want to try to learn or pick their brain or whatever that means. And I still consider myself a young strength coach, but It's just your development's up to you. At the end of the day, I really do think it's up to you, you know?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like seeking that stuff out, and I think that's what turned me off. And a lot of the places where we were trying to get interns on, and it felt like a pyramid scheme where we're just trying to get on help and like just to like quote unquote take work off our plate as a coach. And I was like, this is more work because they aren't doing their job and now I have to guide them in a way and they don't really want it. And I
Yep.
remember doing my internships and I was there like I would sleep in my truck like to go to American University and wait for the parking lights to come on, the meters to come on at 6 a.m. in downtown DC. And
Hmm.
I'd wake up and wait for the lights to turn on so I could go put quarters in and then go intern. And I'd set an alarm on my phone and my watch to go put more quarters in so that I didn't get ticketed and my truck was still out there. It's like
Yeah,
some of these kids like just want to like check the box and say they did it. And you really have to go out and seek these things. And I'm not saying it has to be the worst case scenario. You have to drive 4 hours away, but you have to put in more effort than the person that you're asking to do. And you kind of have to be accommodating to them because you're asking for guidance and mentorship and something kind of free, but at the end of the day, it's not free. It's their time that they're willing to give you. And it's all the experience that like you've gone through your career and spent diligent time and effort and energy to accumulate that knowledge and expertise. So if someone's coming and seeking you advice, like you better have done like the majority of the legwork to ask them. And the same thing, be flexible with your scheduling, like be accommodating to them and be grateful for their time and follow up with them. Otherwise, like I'm not going to waste my time.
no doubt. No doubt. And it's like, first off, if you're interning and you think it's going to be like, interning in collegiate strength and conditioning is the hardest thing on the planet. Like, I'm telling you right now, interning at Ohio State was harder than being the head strength coach here at Sam Houston. It just was. Like, mentally, physically, like you were going to work every single day. And the just development it took. But like, if you're not passionate about this, like, go home, change your career. Like, it's just not going to work out for you. Like, I'm sorry. So, it's you can kind of read that with some interns. I had a former intern at West Point. He was actually a full-time guy at West Point, and he wasn't quite ready because he was so raw. It was his first uh, experience interning with us in his first summer, June and July. So I sent him to Ohio State to continue to get developed, and they did an awesome job. And then he got a full-time job in North Texas for their football team. Now he's back up at West Point. But like uh, his name's John Morris, and he's doing an awesome job up there at West Point. But like, I knew he was gonna be a good coach and develop because the kid was so happy and smiled every day and had good energy and like he was passionate about it. And that's really, I told him like he reminded me a lot of myself when I was at Ohio State because I'm telling you right now, like I might have been the worst intern at Ohio State at the time, because they brought in some guys that were really good and when I was playing football, a lot of these guys were intern taking their summers off and well, taking their summers to intern with other Power Five schools and stuff like that. So I felt a little bit behind, but I knew I was going to be okay because of the passion I brought. They graded us on our passion and energy and some other things. And I always had the highest passion score, the highest energy score. And that's just like I love doing what I do. And like if you're an intern and if you don't love it, like you're gonna struggle. And I think that's a part of the burnout thing is like never once crossed my mind to ever like I hope I die one day on rack 5 coaching someone. Like it is what it is. I love doing this. I hope I die doing it. So
That's awesome. I mean, that's full circle to how like you kind of got started in your career, like sophomore year, changing everything and just understanding like, hey, if you don't have passion for this, like you're gonna burn out quickly. Like this is not the career for you. Don't take this lighthearted. And it's the same thing that you're kind of preaching to interns and like you were kind of forged through that fire, like through all your coaching spots and like you're still preaching it nowadays. So awesome to kind of hear. Well, hey, coach, like any good training session, we end the show with a finisher. So I got 4 quarters, 4 questions, and maybe overtime at the end. So it's kind of perfect for that game day 5 prep. This is like your lead into that. So we'll go rapid fire unless you want to expand on any question, but I got the first one if you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right, first one I got for you. Biggest influence in the strength and conditioning profession.
Connor Hughes.
All right. What do you usually found doing when you're not coaching, you're not training? Like what are some of your hobbies outside of like the profession?
I literally just want to spend time with my family, my wife and kid. That's it. It's all decompress with them. That's the best way.
There you go. All right, so I know you kind of alluded to this a little bit, dying on rack five, but if if you weren't coaching, if you had to pick a different career path, if you had to go in a different direction, alternate universe, what do you think you might be doing as a different profession?
I'm telling you right now, I have absolutely no idea. I have no idea what I would do if it weren't for strength conditioning. I literally have no idea. No
All
idea.
right.
I was I was a chemistry major to become a pharmacist. I changed it to exercise science. I went to the pharmacy to pick up something the other day, and I was like, no, like, could not ever do this. What was I thinking? Like, I have no idea what I would do. I don't know. I
That
have no.
that very different, very different. You kind of saw your life and like the alternate universe, like through that window, picking up medicine. It's
Yes.
could have been a very different for you. But hey, you might have already done it this day, but like setting up an ideal training day for yourself. Like you got the weight room to yourself. Like what music is playing, favorite PR song, and what's the best post-training meal that you've got planned?
I love I like any type of like rap from the 2000s or 2010, like the good stuff when I was young. Like, I was listening to 50 Cent in the driveway when I was 8 years old. Probably the explicit version too, but I like heavy metal. I like I like whatever. So I just don't like I don't really like techno stuff. So I'll blast some System of a Down. I'll blast some Eminem. I'll blast some whatever. Like um, you know, I'll listen to some. It don't matter, some Celine Dion. If they're bringing passion into the music, like it's all good. I like it. I like when people just bring passion and energy, and you feel it. Um, what's the best? So I posted on Instagram a couple months ago, and I took a lot of heat. I posted my post workout meal, which was ground beef, bananas, and honey. That's a great post workout meal, but I don't know. I eat really clean. I eat all whole foods and stuff. So like I don't necessarily eat for taste anymore, except for maybe like once or twice on the weekends or something like that. But
Is
uh,
that mixed together? It's that all mixed together. Is that what got the flack?
oh yeah, yeah, ground
Yeah.
beef, honey, and bananas. It's delicious. The sweet and savoriness just go together.
I mean, salt and chocolate milk, like finding those combos. There's plenty of weird combos out there. I wouldn't say that's at the top of the list, but it's definitely an interesting one I haven't heard before. But all right, hey, last one I got for you for overtime. Like your choice, if like first one that comes to mind, or if you've got a favorite either under the bar, like or training or competing, like competition memory of yours, or favorite coaching memory you've had so far in your career.
Uh, I always say a man never forgets the first time he bench presses 405. So that's probably my favorite lifting. As far as coaching, I said this in the last podcast, is like it's not the winning the championships or things like that. Like it is seeing some of the kids succeed that have worked their ass off to get to where they are. But I really cherish every single day. Like I have so much fun every single day. And like it's just I go out to the warm up and the guys get jacked up and they're going crazy and this and that. It's just every day, every little moment, I try not to take things for granted. And so it's great to win the games. It's great to win the championships, but um, I just try not to take a second for granted. So yeah, it's every day is the most memorable. Just one day at a time, baby.
There you
So
go. Hey, I love it. I mean, that those positive vibes and like having some gratitude and enthusiasm and being excited for every training day, like you said, like making the weight room like the best party on campus. That's a really cool way to do it. And I mean, if you're able to do that all the time, then it makes the games like anxiety levels go down. It makes it so much more fun. And that's like why everybody got into sports. That's why everybody got into strength conditioning and coaching and stuff too. Like to keep that positive side of it, to keep staying involved in something that like we enjoyed from the very beginning. And there's a lot of burnout. There's a lot of coaches that kind of like get out of the profession because they lose sight of that stuff. And it's cool that you see that in that light more so than just game day, which is kind of a climax for it. But I think a lot of coaches get to the point where like the training days are such a lull that they're just seeking out the game days. And you're doing that. You're making the game day every day. So that's awesome.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Like, and I believe it. Our head coach believes it. He says it all the time. Is like we're not winning football games in the fall. Like we're winning football games because what we do right now. So if you're going through emotions as a coach, whether you're an assistant or the head strength coach, like you're doing a disservice to the team and you are taking points off the board in the season. It's that's truly what I believe. That's what I believe. Some other strength coaches might believe differently, but no, I think what we do is a huge factor in how we operate and how we practice and just the standard from you know being a player-led program and not a coach-led program and the players just holding each other accountable. It's something that they got to learn and it's a you just got to continue to put yourself in uncomfortable situations, whether you're a player or you're myself. So yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you having me on. I had a blast talking to you and it was a great conversation. So I appreciate you. And if you're ever out here and you visit Trevor and I, which you're more than welcome to anytime, we'll take you to get you the best Texas steak you've ever had in your life. I guarantee it. I guarantee
Oh
it.
yeah. No, I'm all for that. I know I got to bug Trevor about that sometime too, and he's been preaching that for a long time since he's been down there. But I
Yep.
couldn't agree with what you just said more, and I'm appreciative and I'm excited that we got you on the show today. It's been awesome to kind of hear everything you had going on, like leading into year one and getting ready for the first season, and like it's awesome. Your episode's going to drop right before season, so it's going to be perfect timing. So. I'm wishing you as much luck as possible. I know against your alma mater and getting ready for that game day 5. It's gonna
Full
be
circle.
it's gonna be
Full
full circle.
circle.
It's gonna be great. So, and for anybody that's got any follow-up questions for you, want to follow along with the training and everything that Sam Houston State football's got going on, and like maybe pick your brain a little bit more, where can they find you?
Yeah, so my Instagram account, Coach Blair Vaughan. I don't know what my Twitter is. I think it's Blair V41. But yeah, you could DM me. I post some of our training, so if you DM me or comment or something like that, I'm gonna see it. Like I'll give anybody my phone number and stuff like that. I don't want to do it right now here on live, but if you hit me up, I will give you my phone number. We can talk. I can talk shop all day. So yeah, just reach out to me and I'll post content. I try to post content. I did a better job when I was an assistant, but I'm trying to put some stuff out there. So yeah.
Well, you got a lot on your plate, so I don't think anybody faults you for that. But no, great content, and obviously doing a lot of big things over there at Sam Houston State, and a lot more to come. So, like I said, I appreciate your time, Coach. It's been awesome to link up with you and talk more. And I'm definitely gonna take you up on that steak sometime. But I appreciate it, and good luck with the rest of the summer season, getting ready for fall.
I appreciate it. Yeah, yeah. It'll go by quick, but we're rocking and rolling. We're just gonna keep it up every single day. So thank you. I appreciate it once again, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. And we'll talk again soon. Okay.
For sure, appreciate it. Take care.
That's it for this episode of The Strength Game. Thank you again to this week's guest and to our sponsors. Be sure to connect and keep up with our guests at the links in the description below. Remember to subscribe to us on Apple and Google Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast provider to stay up to date on all future episodes. Also, check us out on YouTube and CoachO'Brien.com, where you can find all the video versions of these episodes, as well as show notes, episode schedule, and much more. Comments, ratings, and reviews are always welcome and appreciated. Thanks again for tuning in, and be sure to join us next week for another great episode of The Strength Game.